the second half of the 18th century. The East India Company has full control over Bengal, the richest region in India. In effect, it has turned into a private state. With an army of 40,000 men, which is nominally loyal to the crown but acts entirely independently, it controls Bengal's trade and revenue system, collecting taxes across the province. But the population is about 30 million, roughly 3 times that of Britain itself, and the British merchants in charge know little about how to govern it. Unable to speak the local languages and unfamiliar with the customs, they are sabotaged by officials. Records are falsified and revenue goes uncollected. As a result, the company's finances are undermined. In response, the company imposes this so-called dual system and adopts revenue farming. Under the dual system, it claims the Diwani while leaving the Nizamat, justice and policing, to the Nawab. Revenue farming means that tax collection is handed to contractors. They bid for districts, promising fixed payments to the company. Whoever offers the highest pledge wins the auction. The farmer then collects taxes in the district, pays the fixed assessment to the company and keeps the surplus. This spreads corruption widely and impoverishes the countryside. When harvests fail in 1769, grain becomes scarce. To drive up prices, private traders under company protection hoard rice. Rice prices rise several-fold. But the company keeps tax assessment high and offers almost no relief. As a result, in 1770, a famine begins, wiping out 5 to 10 million people, roughly a third of the population. To make matters worse, smallpox spreads across Bengal, taking thousands more lives. This crushes the company's revenue. Within 2 years, it faces a financial collapse and is forced to seek a bailout, asking the government in London for a £1 million loan. Politicians are outraged and launch an inquiry, accusing the company of negligence and misrule. In the aftermath, Parliament passes the Regulating Act of 1773, creating the post of Governor-General of Bengal and a Supreme Court in Calcutta. A decade later, Pitt's India Act of 1784 establishes the Board of Control, a government body in London that supervises the company's affairs in India. This marks the first step in the company's loss of autonomy. With revenue farming discredited, the company urgently needs a stable source of revenue to replace the chaotic system that has just collapsed. In Bengal, one crop stands out: opium. It is highly profitable and easy to control. In 1773, Governor-General Warren Hastings makes it a state monopoly. Farmers in Bihar and Benares region receive advances to grow opium poppies and are required to deliver the opium to company agencies. There it is processed into balls, packed into chests and shipped to Calcutta. In Calcutta, the company holds regular auctions. Chests are sold to private traders, British, Indian, Parsi, who then take the risk of smuggling it into China. This gives the company plausible deniability. Officially, it only sells in India, while in reality, the system is designed for China. By the late 18th century, 2 streams of opium emerge. The Bengal stream, under direct company monopoly, goes down the Ganges to Calcutta. The Malwa stream, grown in central India, is outside the monopoly, but the company taxes it when it passes through Bombay. In both cases, the ultimate destination is the Chinese coast. Britain already has a trading factory in Guangzhou, but under the Canton system, foreigners are strictly limited. They can deal only through the Kohong Guild and only in goods like tea, silk and porcelain. Opium cannot enter legally. Instead, traders use floating receiving ships anchored off Lintin Island near the Pearl River Delta. Smugglers bring chests there and Chinese middlemen ferry them upriver on local junks. Legal trade with the Kohong Guild in Guangzhou and Macau continues in tea, silk and porcelain. Opium moves entirely outside that system, yet in parallel to it. To secure the sea route between India and China, the company builds a chain of outposts along the Strait of Malacca. These posts serve as naval stations and pepper ports. This scheme flips the balance of trade. For decades, Britain had to pay silver for Chinese tea. Now, silver flows the other way, out of China into company hands in India and then to London. While the company is securing income in Bengal through land revenue and will later add an opium monopoly, two Indian powers still block its advance: Mysore in the south and the Maratha Confederacy in the interior. Both have modern infantry and strong artillery and claim space the company wants. Mysore grows strong under Hyder Ali. He builds European-style infantry and heavy guns, seeks control over the Carnatic and the Malabar coast, and threatens Madras and British shipping. Mysore's rise alarms its neighbors. The Nizam of Hyderabad and the Maratha chiefs both fear Mysore's growing power. By the mid-1760s, they form an alliance and discuss plans to invade Mysore. Meanwhile, the company wants a stronger foothold on the east coast and eventually a secure land route between Bengal and Madras. The northern Sarkars, a coastal strip of the Bay of Bengal under the authority of the Nizam of Hyderabad, lie on its route. In 1766, the company signs a treaty with the Nizam, gaining most of the northern Sarkars in return for annual payments and a promise to support him with company troops against Hyder Ali. For the Nizam, this treaty brings both revenue and outside military support, just as he expects a war with Mysore. In 1767, Maratha forces invade northern Mysore and push south. Hyder Ali negotiates with them, pays a large sum of money, and they withdraw. Soon after, the Nizam of Hyderabad marches into Mysore with company battalions, using the treaty to call in British support. But Hyder Ali offers him better terms. He promises a large payment and future gains in land, and the Nizam breaks with the company and joins Mysore against it. Their armies strike company's positions in the Carnatic and force British columns to fall back with losses. In response, company's armies march across southern India and along the Malabar coast. They capture several forts and ports, but fail to destroy Hyder Ali's main army. Hyder rides to the outskirts of Madras, which has weak defenses. Faced with a threat to its main base, the company agrees to the Treaty of Madras. Both sides return most captured territory, release prisoners, and promise to support each other if attacked. Mysore remains intact and the company gains no land while taking on a formal duty to defend Mysore as its ally. In fact, the war is a defeat for the company. A new trigger appears in 1780. The British seize Mahé, a French post on the Malabar coast that carries supplies and trade for Mysore. This cuts one of the Mysore's main sea links to French arms and goods and directly hurts its war stocks. Hyder calls in French aid and strikes first. At Polilor, the company suffers a major defeat. The war drags on for years, with heavy losses on both sides and little progress. In 1782, Hyder Ali dies and leaves the throne to his son Tipu Sultan, who continues the fight. But Mysore is weakened by the transition, while the British are stretched thin by global wars and unable to commit their full strength. French support proves limited and fails to shift the balance. By 1784, both sides are exhausted and neither is able to win outright, so they agree to the Treaty of Mangalore, which restores pre-war borders. The company remains dissatisfied with the result and still sees Mysore as its main threat in the south. In the late 1780s, under closer control from London, Governor-General Charles Cornwallis cuts spending and reorganizes the company's armies in India, preparing for a new war once there is a clear breach. In 1790, Tipu attacks Travancore, a British ally on the Malabar coast. This gives the company a clear cause for war and restores its coalition with the Nizam and the Marathas. British armies enter Mysore, fight a hard campaign and besiege Seringapatam. In 1792, Tipu signs the Treaty of Seringapatam, cedes about half of his territory, and pays a heavy indemnity. 2 of Tipu's sons are handed over to the British as hostages to guarantee payments. After this humiliation, Tipu spends the next years trying to rebuild his army and finances. In 1798, he seeks French support again. Governor-General Richard Wellesley treats that as a direct threat. He builds the coalition with the Nizam of Hyderabad and the Maratha chiefs, and company armies advance on Mysore from several sides. In 1799, British and Allied troops storm Seringapatam. Tipu dies on the ramparts. Mysore is broken as an independent power. Much of its territory goes to the company and its allies, while the remaining core is given to the restored Wodeyar dynasty as a princely state under a British subsidiary alliance. Thus, after a severe crisis, the company survives, rebuilds its strength and secures dominance over most of the southern India. Yet powerful rivals remain in central and northern India, above all the Maratha Confederacy and its allies. The next step will be to fight for control of northern India.